Hello everyone, Merry Morning here, and I am doing a video on my bookshelf because lots of people have sort of asked, what's in your bookshelf behind you in the videos, so I thought I might go shelf to shelf and show you some of my book collection, but I'm going to start with the pagan witchy kind of books because that's sort of what most of my videos have been about so far, so I thought you might enjoy that. But I have lots of books on different topics, so lots to show you. So let's start with the first shelf, which is mostly sort of practical books like grimoires, spell books, that sort of thing. Stuff you'd use if you wanted to do a working, you can pull a book out and find a spell really quickly kind of thing. So, my shelves are not greatly organized, honestly, like, because I constantly pull things out and put them back in, and that, like, they never stay the same. So, they kind of move and flux, and things get in the wrong area, and all of that. So, let's start with looking at my pretty fairies. So there's a fairy that a friend gave me. There's my crystal ball. And there's a little gothic fairy here. She's pretty cute. And we'll move on to the first book. So, first book is House Magic by Ariana. And I thought I'm not going to get into sort of reviewing these books because that would just take forever, but if there's a special one that sort of jumps out as I'm going through, I'll point those ones out. As far as House Magic goes, this isn't my favorite book actually. Scott Cunningham has a better book on it. Don't know if I have it in the shelves here, but it's an excellent one if you want to look for that. There's another one on housekeeping. So Magickal Housekeeping by Tess Whitehurst. I haven't read this whole one, but so far so good. Power of the Witch by Laurie Cabot. I actually read this fairly recently. I hadn't read a lot of Laurie Cabot, and one of the reasons was I'd never really sort of found her in the standard bookstores. So I found a bunch of her books in one of the little witchy shops that I was in recently. So I bought about 3 or 4 of them. So I've been sort of catching up on Laurie Cabot, which is a good reference book, by the way. So that's why she's in this shelf, is that there's a lot of recipes and basic stuff, basic information in that book. So Wicca Candle Magic by Garina Dunwich. It's a good basic book on candle magic, lots of different spells in that. Good reference. Pretty cover too. Everyday Witchcraft by Deborah Blake. Who doesn't love Deborah Blake? She's got great books. And I have the Everyday Witch Tarot as well, which I should do a review on that one because that's a really awesome tarot deck. Practical Prosperity Magic by Ellen Dugan, another one of my favorite authors. I have a few books by Ellen Dugan. Mostly, I've sort of gotten most of her books from the library. I don't even own a lot of them, but I like her writing style. This one is a little different. So you might think, what the heck is a cooking book doing in, a magical shelf? Well, this one's really special because this is one of my oldest books that I have because it belonged to my mother. And it's actually a book full of folk magic. So my parents are from North Carolina, and most of I didn't grow up there. I grew up in Washington State, but being around my parents, I sort of, heard stories and, different sort of folk magic. And this book goes into like all these stories and recipes, and it's actually really cute. John Paris Mountain Cooking. So Yeah, if you're into granny magic and that sort of thing, you might want to look for that. I don't know if it's even in print anymore. It's a really old book. And moving right along, we got the Book of Spells, Positive Enchantments to Enhance Your Life by Michael Johnstone. Again, a beautiful cover on it. Here's one of my old ones. I might have stole that from the library. I'm not really sure if I bought that secondhand or if I stole that from the library. I don't know. Spells of Enchantment, The Wondrous Fairy Tales of Western Culture. So that's a nice big thick book, practical book. Spells, Charms, and Talismans and Amulets, A Complete Guide to Magical Enchantment by Pamela Ball. Spells of Enchantment, The Wondrous Fairy Tales of Western Culture. You know what? Oh my goodness. Look at that. I didn't even realize. They're the same book, different covers. I think this is the older version. I'm not totally sure. That's interesting. I just noticed that. Might have to give away the other one. Natural Magic, Inside the Well-Stocked Witch's Cupboard by Sally Dubitz. Spells and Charms, 52 Charms and Spells to Help You Get the Best Out of Life by Nicola D. Pulford. Seasonal Living, A Guide to Living in Harmony with Nature and the Seasons by Antonia Beattie. I think this is one of those books that I sort of picked up on the $1 or $2 tables at Chapters. Scott Cunningham's Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs. Definitely a necessary book if you really want to get into working with herbs. So much information in that. Skin Deep, Natural Recipes for Healthy Skin and Hair. So if you want to mix up your own beauty products. I'm not really sure why this one is on this shelf. I don't think it really belongs here, actually. This is Encyclopedia of Spirits by Judica Eels. The Ultimate Guide to the Magic of Fairies, Genies, Demons, Ghosts, Gods, and Goddesses. Should probably put that down on the fairy shelf. Victorian Grimoire. I think I bought this back in the 90s. It just looks like a 90s book. Kind of that pink and old-fashioned look from the 90s. Enchantment, Romance, and Magic, a Victorian Grimoire. There's actually really good stuff in this, though. It's a pretty book. I like that book. The Book of Home Remedies and Herbal Cures, Old-Fashioned Remedies and Cures for Common Complaints from Chilblains. Heartache, Bee Stings, and Insomnia to Freckles, Hiccups, and the Common Cold by Carol Bishop. Sounds like a lot of folk magic. I haven't read all the way through these. Some of these I've just kind of, thumbed through and looked for, whatever it was I was looking for, and then put it back in the shelf kind of thing. And The Ultimate Encyclopedia of Spells by Michael Johnstone. It's a beautiful book. I think I have used quite a bit out of that one. So that is the end of the first shelf of Pagan books. I will just pan up a tiny bit just to show off the top shelf a bit. If you are into Neil Gaiman at all, you'll recognize some of these guys. So I keep my Neil Gaiman books up on the top shelf. And of course, the Greek gods had to go up here, so If Isis would fit in this shelf, I'd put her up there too, but she doesn't quite fit. So that's the end of the first shelf. I've got 4 shelves of Magickal stuff, so stay tuned for part 2. Blessed be.